So this is my second video journal for cross-cultural counseling, and I have to say there's a lot that I'd like to talk about in this video. There was a lot of things that came up, especially with the last chapter that we read on multiracial students, and finally I found something that I could relate to. I think a lot of the theories we've been reading about has been either one thing or another, and the whole time I kept thinking to myself, well, I'm not just one thing or the other. My dad's white, and that has a whole set of, Jewish heritage, white, middle class, but then my mom has a whole combination of Hawaiian, Portuguese, Puerto Rican, and Chinese that she associates with. And so that makes me, I guess, a mutt. But it's, after reading the chapter on multiracial identity, I really found myself connecting with that, and it's something that I feel I can use when I move back to my home in Hawaii. A lot of people, and I know they mention Native Hawaiians, it's hard to say you're just Hawaiian because no one's just Hawaiian anymore. Everyone's got a lot of mixture, whether it's from the Polynesian Islands, Samoa, Tonga, Fiji, Tahiti, or any of the Asian countries that we have, or if you're Hawaiian Caucasian. It brought up, it was nice to finally see Hawaiian in there, because moving to the South, it's always black and white, or black and Hispanic, or white and Hispanic, and I just feel like my experience has been so different from anyone's experience here, so it was nice to finally see Native Hawaiian being recognized. I guess something that I had difficulty with that chapter was I finally realized the stem of many arguments between my brother and I. My brother is very connected to his Hawaiian heritage, very connected to the island. He just finally now caught a plane for the first time off of the island to, by himself to go and explore, which I applaud him. But from the time I was younger, I've always been the white sister. I was never Hawaiian enough, and it always pissed me off because I didn't want to choose. I wanted to be both, and yet he was forcing me to choose. It was almost bad to be white. He said, if you weren't so haole, and haole is the Hawaiian word for white, if you weren't so white, then, maybe you'd understand what's important to me. And I said, maybe if you weren't so Hawaiian, you'd understand what's important to me. And it's always been this, you have to choose one or the other. And I guess Root talked about that in the chapter about, feeling like you're forced to choose one or the other and associating one or the other. And I think I finally realized I don't have to choose, and I don't have to feel guilty for not being Hawaiian enough or being not white enough or whatever, but that I can see my Hawaiian side and my white side and appreciate the differences in both. And I think it's helped me really connect to a lot of different people on the mainland, and being able to understand the struggles that a lot of ethnic minorities go through, having been exposed to that for so long. I think one of the things that I also had difficulty with this couple of weeks was spirituality, and spirituality is something that I've never really talked about. My dad, I guess, came from a Jewish household, but he doesn't practice, and my mom came from a Christian household, but she doesn't practice, so that sort of left us with, well, I don't know what we believe. It's just something we don't talk about. And so I think, when counseling someone, I'm going to have to be really cognizant of making sure that I appreciate others' connections with their spirituality, and that I don't ever hold that against them. I know that it brings up feelings of anger with me a lot of times, because a lot of times religion is mixed in with politics, so you hear a lot about conservatives and Republicans and taking away rights of people who don't necessarily believe in that kind of thing. Social issues mostly, on gay rights, abortion. It usually just gets under my skin, so it'll have to be something that I am cognizant of. I think unpacking the knapsack was something very interesting we learned this semester. I think it definitely put my life into perspective. I mean, the very next day I had a cut on my hand, and I put on the Band-Aid, and I couldn't help but look at it and be like, wow, that matches exactly my skin color. You know, if I were black, or if I were Asian, or whatever I was, Band-Aids might not always match, and that's something that you never think about when you're in the majority. And that was the main point of the article, was, you know, you have to really you have to start thinking about the privileges that you're just automatically granted because you're white. And again, I struggle with, you know, when people ask me what I am, I always name off, you know, all of the different ethnicities I am, because that's how I associate myself. But I think a lot of people just see me as white, and you know, part of me agrees. You know, majority of me is white, but I also have all these very unique ethnicities and this rich heritage that it's sad when you look at me and just think, oh, she's just another white girl. So it's not it. So it's been an interesting couple weeks, and I've enjoyed what I've learned, and it's also been very eye-opening. As we continue, I hope to further explore my multiculturalism and how it relates to what I'll be doing in the field of counseling.